Another great Democratic leader in the space, Michael Blake, the vice chair of the DNC and New York State Assemblyman. He joins us today to talk about the platform, Vision 2020. What is at stake for Black America? Michael, thank you for joining us today on Heart City. Welcome home.
Great to be with you, Malik. You know, I'm just trying to bring some good weather from out east, because I don't know what y'all feeling out there right now.
Hey, listen, we need all the good weather we can get, man. It's messing with my golf season, brother. but we have this major election at stake. You know, all across America, we're having conversation about what a Republican agenda is, what is a Democratic agenda. Obviously, there's been what is essentially 4 years of a Trump presidency. Many, however, on the ground, specifically in Black America, are unsure of what has occurred in the current presidency and what they can expect from a Biden-Harris presidency. What is at stake from your perspective in this election?
Well, to me, you know, this is the framing of can Black people make it? Will Black people survive? Will our generations to come have a chance? You know, I have been thinking regularly about, you know, a dear friend of mine, Ezekiel Cousin, who 46 years old, CWA member, Verizon employee, sent me a text and said, you know, I'm concerned. A lot of our guys are getting sick right now.
Yeah.
And about 3.5 weeks later, Zeke was gone. Think about the black businesses, you know, the 40% of Black businesses that are not coming back. The amount of young kids who they're trying to figure out remote learning.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to engage. And so Black folk, let's be real right now. On one side, you have a man in Joe Biden who has given his life to service, is consistently trying to focus on what are we doing around racial equity? How do we ensure that Black and brown businesses get access to capital? What are we doing so that we can actually live? And on the other side, you have a racist, sexist, misogynistic demagogue who has had a long history of generations of not giving a damn about Black people. And so when people ask me the question, what is at stake? Do Black people and brown people survive?
You know, that is a very morbid question, but one I think that we need to not be afraid of. I think we have to take some of the emotion out of politics and really begin to look at the brass tacks of it. What's happening on our bottom lines? What's happening in our healthcare? What's happening in our homes? Many of us, you know, we know the old adage, all politics are local. But I add to that, all change begins locally. It's important for us to get engaged right now if we really want to make a difference. Now, Time Magazine, I'm going to put you on the spot here. They wrote at 25 years old, Michael Blake may have more to do with Barack Obama's chances of becoming president than anyone besides the candidate himself. It's clear that you have a track record in, you know, getting behind powerful moving machines and making sure that we have great candidates in the space who can deliver. This platform, this party, this candidacy in Biden-Harris has gone through a lot in the Black community, if we're going to be honest. When Biden selected Senator Kamala Harris, there were many people that were excited about that. There were Black men that felt like, hey, her record on you know, prosecution for Black men and the DA race will come into question. And so to those undecideds, to those who are on the fence, who feel like as a Black man, they're going to be left out of the Biden-Harris presidency, speak to them and talk to them about what you see as a possibility from the Biden-Harris platform, but more importantly, the expectations of today's landscape.
Well, first, I thank Jay Newton Small for that article in Time Magazine, but I'm a smart Black man. So I'm gonna say Michelle Obama
There you go,
Lee and Sasha had far more to do to make things happen in that man. I want to make sure I get home okay right now. Right? You know, look, I'm the first Black man elected to the DNC leadership since Ron Brown. I directed African American outreach and minority business outreach for President Obama and Vice President Biden. But before politics and before being a vice chair, before being an assembly member, I'm a Black man from the Bronx, New York, who's endured police brutality, who has seen family members be incarcerated, turn their lives around. I have a brother who served this country for 29 years in the Army, endured not once but twice police brutality myself. Graduated from Northwestern University after a near-fatal car accident and still came back to serve my community. And so when people are asking me what's at stake for our people, and particular Black men, brothers, we want to have a chance to get access to capital so we can start our businesses and be the entrepreneurs we want to be. We need to win. We want a chance to be focused on what true criminal justice reform can be, so that we're not just locking up our people and not building jails, but building schools. We need to win. If we're talking about what's happening in terms of how do we actually have police accountability in our communities, we need to win. We're focusing on what's happening too often in our communities around My Brother's Keeper and changing the narrative so that Black and brown men are seen with the respect that we deserve. We need to win. And so I come to you, to the brothers and sisters that are out there that are saying to themselves, well, I don't know if I should vote. I don't think it really matters. Ask yourself the very simple question. Do you have a job? Does someone have their life? Did your schools get shut down for your kids? And if any of those answers are a yes and those changes, then we can't continue down this trajectory. And so when I hear the rhetoric of, well, do we support Senator Harris, who will be our next vice president? Let's talk about what she did on the First Step Act and transforming communities to give us a chance for criminal justice. Let's talk about the opportunities right now and making sure we have to have true racial equity in this administration with Vice President Biden when he's president, of saying we got to get $50 billion out to our Black and brown businesses and focusing on community development, financial institutions, and demonstrating that 50% of funding for a new relief package will go to small businesses. These are things that will impact us, that will benefit us, that will change the game for us. So let's be very clear. That's what's at stake in this election. That's why we have to be in the game. And you know, Malik, I just tell people, make this personal right now, right? Like, how could we say at all that an election doesn't matter when we've seen the disaster of the last 3.5 years and the disaster of this year? This is what's at stake for our people. And so to my brothers, you sitting on the sidelines and not voting is essentially a vote for Trump. So the amount of time you would take to stand in line for sneakers, the amount of time we would stand in line for the concert, the amount of time we would stand in line to go holler at a shorty, the amount of time we would do any of those things, take that time and go vote.
You break it down into real tangible examples of timeshare, what is meaningful and what would be most impactful for the community. You tweeted something that I think is really important to note. You said, we have to be a part of the change all the time. We cannot be part-time temporary change makers. We have to be fully committed to creating change all of the time. One of the biggest missteps that some will note in the administration during President Obama was that many focused on getting him in, but they forgot midterms. You know, they forgot the understanding of there's a point guard and a shooting guard. There's a power forward and a small forward. And if we don't have those pieces working in tandem, you're not going to be able to score and at least defend effectively. Some of those missteps occurred, and we witnessed an administration go through tremendous challenges trying to get things accomplished. Speak to the broadcast audience right now about the importance of being engaged, not just in November, but in every election, getting engaged and being fully committed all of the time.
So let me make it real clear on the first piece, and then let's talk through the impact. do you stand in line for at the club just to stand in line, or do you stand in line because you want to get inside and make sure the party jumps off? So why would we say a first step was, okay, let's just elect Obama, and then not make it happen and continue thereafter? And taking it to the next step, if you go to a real live party, you know, great restaurant, great live jazz set, whatever it may be, you want to go back again. You want to stay engaged. You want to stay and committed. Now, we got to make sure, though, that the music is jumping. We got to make sure that the food is right. We got to make sure that everything is set so that you're like, yo, I got to get back there. Mike Blake said this spot was live, this spot was jumping. I saw it for myself and saw what's happening. And so to that point, you care about criminal justice, then you need to care about the police chiefs and the DAs that get elected. You care about what's happening, especially with the census being cut off and what's going on in terms of funding for your schools and housing, then you got to care about the state legislators that are being elected. You care about what's going on the state level, you have to care about the governors. You want to talk to me about infrastructure in your cities and roads and bridges, then you got to care about the mayors and city council members. And you notice I said all these things, and I'm talking about all these things, and I didn't talk about the presidency yet. I didn't talk about Congress yet, because we have to make sure that we are in the game all of the time. Oh, we got to start playing three-dimensional chess. We got to start telling people very clearly, do you care about us as a people? Well, yes, then you have to be voting all the time and then holding us accountable as elected officials thereafter. I've been in the state legislature for 3 terms, and critical element of this is what we did here locally.
Yeah.
My Brother's Keeper, Raise the Age, minority women-owned businesses. That didn't happen from the White House. However, here's the intersectionality that's about to happen, Malik. All the challenges across the country, in large part right now, is because Trump and the Republicans have refused this latest relief package for state and local funding. So all the things we want to make happen in our communities cannot happen because the money's not coming down. And then what happened? Then your state government and your city government is trying to figure out, well, you know what? I can't do sanitation 5 days a week. We can maybe do it 1 day a week because we don't have enough money. I can't figure out, meals every single day for the kids. So it's maybe 3 days a week. And so you're watching in real time what happens and the transformational opportunity that exists. And so for all of us, again, I'll make it real clear. You don't just go stand in line at the club. You want to have a good time there and then come back again. Yeah. And it's our responsibility for those of us as Democratic leaders to make sure that we show you what happens when you're in the party. That's how we break this down and make it real for everybody.
Well, Mike, look, you already said it's not just about being in line, but making sure that there's food there, that there's a good DJ, that the party is popping off. So wherever you're throwing the party, Mike, that's where I want to be, man. And I think it's really important that we break some of this stuff down to layman terms, to real relatable items in everyday life. And you did just that. I honor you, Mike. Thank you so much for spending time with the electorate and coming home to Heart City to talk about these issues. I think, and it's great to have mainstream media display the issues of the day in the way that they do. But I think it's really also important that we have those that are of color that are able to speak to our communities of color the way we understand it, the way that we get it, and make it an immediate issue for us to get out on November 3rd. I'm looking forward also to having you over the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about the elections and break down some of these issues. I'm excited about your expertise and your perspective.
Consider it done. I'll try to come up with more food analogies. I'll talk about oxtail since I'm Jamaican. And keep that going right there. And we'll keep that going. And for everybody, last thing, iwillvote.com. You're going to hear us say that a lot because, this is an election season, early voting, absentee voting, everything that's happening. So if you're trying to figure out how to get in the game, iwillvote.com is how we need you. That's what's at stake. And I'm looking forward to being back with you very soon, Malik.